20 years after the original Independence Day and 240 years after the original Independence Day, the franchise reboot Independence Day Resurgence hits theaters. Unfortunately, the sequel's producers couldn't meet Will Smith's $50 million price tag, and focus groups caught on when they tried to replace him with Jaden on stilts. Still, the film boasts Liam Hemsworth, Jeff Goldblum, and some considerable improvements in CGI. So, in honor of this momentous occasion, FilmFish has put together a little history of the top Hollywood invasion flicks from across the decades. And, so close to the 4th of July, we'll also look at the invasion movie as a particularly American phenomenon and get to the bottom of why Americans are so obsessed with aliens. Number 5. The Day the Earth Stood Still. The alien invasion movie took off in 1950s America. This was no accident. With the Cold War nuclear arms race in full swing, extinction from the skies became more than just a convenient cinematic trope. It was a real and daily fear. All 50s invasion movies played with Cold War terror in some way, but The Day the Earth Stood Still rose above scaremongering to earn its place in the Sci-Fi Hall of Fame as a considered and forceful argument for global peace. The film begins when a flying saucer lands in Washington, D.C. The saucer's pilot, a humanoid alien named Klaatu, emerges in a jumpsuit that would make Derek Zoolander proud, uttering the now famous line,
"We have come to visit you in peace."
Unfortunately, a particularly eager soldier shoots the alien ambassador when Klaatu commits the 1950s version of the mistake of reaching for his cell phone. Now it's revealed that "I come in peace" carries a caveat, namely an 8-foot-tall death robot named Gort, played by a 7'7" doorman capable of destroying Earth. The robot, that is, not the doorman. But Klaatu clarifies this will only happen if the leaders of the Earth refuse to make peace with each other and abandon their nuclear arms race. Klaatu eventually leaves, but not before being imprisoned, hunted, and shot again, and with an even bigger gun. Welcome to America. Make sure to visit again soon. His final message is the same one he came with: make peace or die. A warning designed to break the fourth wall and reach a world on the brink of mutually assured destruction.
But if you threaten to extend your violence, this Earth of yours will be reduced to a burned-out cinder.
Number 4. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. If The Day the Earth Stood Still plays with 1950s America's fear of destruction from above, Invasion of the Body Snatchers plays with their fear of destruction from within. In 1956, America was at the tail end of the Red Scare, during which thousands of Americans had been accused as communist sympathizers. The film's screenwriter had himself been rounded up by the Un-American Activities Committee not long before. Invasion of the Body Snatchers distills the era's paranoia in the film's villainous pod people. Emotionally numb aliens that take over their host bodies with the intention of creating a perfect collectivist society.
I don't want any part of it.
These aliens weren't little gray men in silver jumpsuits, and they didn't want to invade Washington, D.C. They wanted to take over small-town America, the land of soda parlors, little freckled boys named Bobby, and first-name service. As a nation built on immigrant waves, Americans had always understood the threat of invaders dressed in strange clothing, speaking strange tongues. But body snatchers captured the Cold War's unique threat. Not a new wave, but an old wave with new ideas.
You fail to understand, and the same incredible terror that's menacing me will strike at you!
Now we move on to the 80s with the genre-bending satirical action horror comedy They Live, written by John Carpenter. They Live follows an aimless drifter, Nada, played by Rowdy Roddy Piper, who at the time was one of the world's most recognizable wrestling stars and a paragon of American masculinity.
No. I said, you want me to fight somebody? I'll fight anybody. Who do you want? Just let me fight him.
When Nada discovers a pair of magic sunglasses, his eyes are open to a nationwide conspiracy subliminally influencing Americans to consume, obey, reproduce, and conform. This conspiracy is led by a race of aliens whose true ghoulish nature can only be seen while wearing the magical, yet fashionable, Ray-Bans.
Look at them, they're everywhere.
Teaming up with a band of human rebels, Nada sends out to destroy the ghouls, armed only with a bag of guns, love of country, and the truth.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers harnessed America's anxiety over communism, whereas They Live takes its shots at capitalism. But both boil down to the conflict between the American individual and American society. But Nada only really loses faith in the American dream when he discovers the ghouls are supported by an elite group of human collaborators, politicians, scientists, who have traded in their nation's freedom for security and comfort.
You can have a little taste of that good life too.
And to top it all off, the aliens cement their control over the American population with flying cameras which look eerily similar to modern drones. In fact, They Live has gained new life in the last few years as audiences connect the warnings of yesterday with the realities of today. In an age of NSA surveillance, bot politicians, and an increasingly wealthy 1%, more people are trying on Nada's sunglasses and asking who's really in control.
We don't need pessimism. There are no limits.
It figures it would be something like this.
Number 2, Independence Day 1996. The previous films on this list used aliens to expose the weaknesses of American society. Independence Day does the opposite, celebrating America's status as the world's unelected and uncontested leader. From start to finish, Independence Day was as much a national phenomenon as it was a movie. The first film to be advertised during the Super Bowl, released on the 4th of July, and raking in $800 million in a stunning display of capitalism at work.
Today, we celebrate our Independence Day.
By the 1990s, America was past the paranoia of the Cold War and out of the moral quagmire of Vietnam. We had marched into a simpler time and it demanded a simpler movie. And Independence Day is nothing if not simple. America is good, the aliens are bad. As for the rest of the world, we guess they were glued to the TV waiting to see how America would save them. As in all action movies, the president means well, but kind of sucks. And it's up to the real hero, the American people, to figure it out by blowing stuff up. Of course, none of this is to say the original Independence Day isn't a ton of fun to watch, and we're still disappointed we won't see Will Smith reclaim his role as the cocky fighter pilot who got his life done flipped upside down.
In West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground is where I spend most of my day.
Now for our final movie on the list, Cloverfield, made in 2008 by the master of mega monsters, J.J. Abrams. The Naughties were a new decade, and they brought a new alien. Cloverfield made waves with its found footage style, but this decision was more than just a gimmick on Abrams' part. In Cloverfield, the medium matches the madness. The aliens' invasion is unexpected, unexplained, and indiscriminate, hitting citizens before politicians or soldiers. This, combined with the visual grammar of New York in flames, evokes the raw terror and confusion of initial 9/11 footage. In fact, many shots in the film were directly modeled after images from early news reports. The film never allows us to get a clear image of the monster, which is perpetually caught at frame's edge and veiled in smoke, morphing and multiplying. In what is perhaps the movie's most ham-fisted moment, the monster even decapitates Lady Liberty. Still, while Cloverfield addresses American fear of terrorism, it doesn't exploit it. The story, which follows a group of friends through the crisis, reminds the audience America is not cowed by tragedy. The monster's invasion binds the group tighter, forcing them to work together to survive and make sacrifices for the greater good.
But we're gonna go after her, and if you want to stop me, then you can have a shoot.
So there you have it, America's top 5 alien movies. Hopefully you'll agree by now that invasion movies are much more than sci-fi schlock. They are a snapshot of America's attitude toward the other by way of Hollywood. The other can be another people, another ideology, or another generation. The attitude can be suspicious, satirical, confident, or terrified. But the conflict always offers a glimpse into how the nation sees itself and its place in the world at the time. And so I will be interested to see what the new Independence Day has to offer. Off the bat, we know it involves a UN-organized global defense program, so the world's hopes don't rest on a single volunteer unit. We also know a Chinese fighter pilot plays some role in the battle. Perhaps this reflects an America more aware of its place in the global community, where safety depends on the cooperation of many and not the sole efforts of one cigar-smoking cowboy.
That's what I call a close encounter.
So basically, if the UN headquarters doesn't get blown up this time, we're asking for our money back. Thank you for watching, and make sure you check out more great movie recommendations at FilmFish.com.